Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed that the people who change the world don't wait for permission? They don't wait until they feel confident. They don't wait until every problem disappears. They move first. They believe first. They become the person they want to be before the world gives them proof. Here's the truth that can transform your life forever. If you want to win, you must act as if you've already won, because your life doesn't follow your circumstances. It follows your identity. The question isn't when we'll successful. The real question is, who do I need to become today? Imagine waking up tomorrow with absolute certainty that your goals are already on their way. How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you make decisions? That version of you already exists. The only difference is whether you're willing to step into that identity right now. Have you ever wondered why two people can have the same opportunities, the same education, and even the same resources, yet one completely transforms their life while the other stays exactly where they are? The difference isn't luck. It isn't talent. It isn't even intelligence. The difference is identity. The most powerful shift you'll ever make isn't changing your goals. It's changing the way you see yourself, because the moment you change your identity, your actions begin to change, your habits begin to change, your standards begin to rise, and eventually your entire life starts reflecting the person you've decided to become. Most people wake up every morning asking, what do I need to do today? But winners ask a different question. They ask, who do I need to be today? That single question changes everything, because success isn't something you chase, it's something you become. If you continue seeing yourself as someone who always quits, you'll find a reason to quit. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, your mind will constantly search for evidence to prove that story true. But the instant you decide, I'm disciplined, I focused, I'm becoming unstoppable, your brain begins searching for ways to support that new identity. That's how transformation begins. Not on the outside, but deep within. Here's something most people never realize. Your life will never consistently rise above the picture you hold of yourself. Snorts. You can dream about success every night, write down goals every morning, and watch motivational videos every day. But if your identity says, I'm not good enough, you'll unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. Your identity is the thermostat of your life. It keeps pulling you back to what you believe you deserve. Change the thermostat and everything else begins to change. Imagine walking into every room already believing you belong there. Imagine approaching challenges with the certainty that you'll figure them out. Imagine making decisions from confidence instead of fear. That's what happens when you stop waiting for success to validate you and start validating yourself first. The world responds differently to people who carry certainty. People trust confidence. Opportunities are attracted to confidence. Leadership is built on confidence, and confidence begins with the identity you choose every single day. Think about the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders in history. Long before they had trophies, companies, awards, or recognition, they believed they were capable of greatness. They trained like champions before anyone called them champions. They prepared for opportunities that hadn't arrived yet. They didn't wait for the world to give them permission. They gave themselves permission. That's why they stood out. They understood that extraordinary results are created by ordinary people who make extraordinary decisions about who they are. Too many people make the mistake of allowing yesterday to define today. One failure convinces them they're failures. One rejection convinces them they're not worthy. One setback convinces them to stop dreaming. But your past is an event. It is not your identity. A mistake is something you experience, not someone you are. The strongest people in the world refuse to wear yesterday's failures as today's identity. Instead, they ask, what is this experience teaching me? And then they keep moving forward with even greater determination. Every decision you make is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Every workout says, I'm someone who values my health. Every book you read says, I'm someone who is committed to growth. Every promise you keep to yourself says, I'm someone who could be trusted. Small actions repeated consistently build an identity that no obstacle can shake. That's why lasting success is never built overnight. It's built through daily choices that reinforce the person you've decided to become. So stop introducing yourself through your limitations. Stop saying, I'm just not confident, I'm not lucky, or that's just who I am. Those are stories, not facts. The moment you replace those stories with a stronger identity, everything begins to shift. Walk with purpose before you feel powerful. Speak with confidence before the results appear. Make decisions as if the future version of you is already guiding every step, because the greatest transformation doesn't happen when your circumstances change. It happens the moment you decide to become the person capable of creating the life you've always imagined. From that moment forward, success is no longer something you're hoping to find. It becomes something your identity naturally creates. What if I told you that the confidence you've been waiting for will never arrive until you move first? Think about that for a moment. Most people spend years waiting to feel ready, while extraordinary people become extraordinary because they take action before they ever feel ready. That's the hidden truth behind every remarkable achievement. Confidence is not the starting point of success. It is the reward for courageous action. If you're waiting for fear to disappear before you begin, you'll spend your entire life standing at the starting line while everyone else is building the future you dreamed about. Too many people believe confidence is something you're born with. They look at successful leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and speakers and assume they have something special that others don't. But they never see the thousands of moments of uncertainty, rejection, failure, and discomfort those people face before anyone recognizes their success. They don't see the sleepless nights, the difficult decisions, or the moments when quitting seemed easier than continuing. Confidence wasn't handed to them. It was earned. Every challenge they faced became another brick in the foundation of their belief. Here's the truth that changes everything. Action creates evidence, and evidence creates confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your mind receives proof that you're becoming stronger. Every difficult conversation you have, every workout you complete, every skill you practice, every risk you take sends one powerful message to your subconscious: I can handle more than I thought. That message grows louder every single time you choose action over excuses. Confidence isn't built in your imagination, it's built through experience. Ask yourself this question: how many opportunities have you lost because you're waiting to feel confident? How many dreams have remained dreams because fear convinced you to wait one more day? The tragedy isn't that people fail. The tragedy is that so many people never begin. Fear has a way of disguising itself as logic. It whispers, wait until you know more, wait until the timing is perfect, wait until you're certain you'll succeed. But perfection is an illusion. The perfect moment never arrives. The people who change their lives understand that progress always beats perfection. Imagine learning to swim by reading books, but never entering the water. Imagine trying to become a great speaker without ever standing in front of an audience. Imagine expecting strong muscles without lifting a single weight. It sounds ridiculous because we know growth only happens through practice. Yet millions of people expect confidence to magically appear without taking action. Life doesn't work that way. Every meaningful skill, every powerful mindset, and every great achievement is developed through repetition, persistence, and the willingness to look uncomfortable while you're learning. The first step is always the hardest because you're stepping into the unknown. Your mind is designed to protect you from uncertainty, so it naturally creates doubts and worst-case scenarios. But here's what most people never discover. The moment you take that first step, fear begins to lose its power. The second step becomes easier. The third step feels more natural before long. What once terrified you becomes part of who you are. That's how confidence grows. Not all at once, but one courageous decision at a time. Every successful person has learned to act despite uncertainty. They don't confuse fear with failure. They understand that fear is often a sign they're moving towards something meaningful. Instead of asking, what if I fail? They ask, what if this is the decision that changes my entire life? That single shift in perspective transforms hesitation into momentum. They know that every attempt teaches a lesson, every setback develops resilience, and every small victory strengthens belief. Stop waiting for confidence to knock on your door. Go out and build it. Speak even when your voice shakes. Start the business even if every detail isn't perfect. Apply for the opportunity even if you don't meet every requirement. Take the first step toward your goals even if the entire path isn't visible, because every action you take is rewriting the story you tell yourself. And one day you'll look back and realize that confidence didn't suddenly appear, or it quietly grew every time you chose courage over comfort, action over hesitation, and progress over perfection, until becoming fearless was no longer your goal. It was simply the natural result of the person you had become. And one of the only things standing between the life you have and the life you dream about is the standard you've chosen to accept. Think about that. Your future is not determined by your wishes. It is determined by your standards. Every day, you're either raising the quality of your life or lowering it through the choices you tolerate. Success isn't reserved for people with extraordinary talent. It's earned by people with extraordinary standards. The moment you decide that good enough is no longer good enough, your entire life begins to shift in a direction most people never experience. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they become comfortable with average. They accept average habits, average effort, average discipline, and then wonder why they get average results. But life has a simple rule. You don't get what you want, you get what you consistently tolerate. If you tolerate procrastination, you'll continue to delay your dreams. If you tolerate excuses, excuses will become your lifestyle. If you tolerate distractions, don't expect extraordinary achievements. Winners understand that every compromise they make with their standards is a compromise with their future. Ask yourself this powerful question. What have you been allowing in your life that your future self would never accept? Is it wasting hours on distractions? Is it surrounding yourself with people who drain your energy? Is it breaking promises you make to yourself? Every time you accept behavior that pulls you away from your goals, you're sending a message to your mind that excellence is optional. But excellence is never optional for those who want an exceptional life. It becomes a daily decision repeated over and over again until it defines who they are. The most successful people in the world aren't successful because they're motivated every morning. They're successful because they built standards that don't depend on motivation. They wake up and do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. They understand that emotions are temporary, but discipline creates permanent results. They don't negotiate with laziness. They don't argue with their alarm clock. They don't wait until inspiration arrives. Their standards have become stronger than their feelings, and that's why their results continue to grow while others remain stuck. Here's something that can completely transform your perspective. Every decision you make is either strengthening your identity or weakening it. When you choose to finish what you started, you're becoming someone who follows through. When you choose learning over entertainment, you're investing in your future. When you choose discipline over comfort, you're building a version of yourself that can handle greater opportunities. These decisions may seem small in the moment, but they compound over time into a life filled with confidence, achievement, and respect. Look at the greatest performers in any field. They don't practice until they get it right. They practice until they can't get it wrong. Why? Because their standards demand excellence. They refuse to settle for mediocrity. They understand that every extra hour of preparation, every additional repetition, every difficult decision separates them from the crowd. While others are searching for shortcuts, they are strengthening their character while others are making excuses. They are making progress. That's the invisible difference that eventually becomes visible to the world. Your environment also reflects your standards. The books you read, the conversations you have, the people you spend time with, the content you consume, and even the way you manage your time all reveal what you've decided is acceptable. If you truly want to change your life, don't start by chasing bigger goals. Start by raising your standards, protect your mornings, guard your focus, value your health, keep your promises, respect your time as if it were your most valuable asset, because it is. Every day is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are becoming someone who refuses to settle. The moment you stop accepting excuses, stop lowering your expectations, and stop compromising on the habits that build greatness, everything begins to change. You start walking with greater confidence because you know you've earned it. You begin attracting better opportunities because your actions reflect reliability and excellence. Your discipline becomes your reputation. Your consistency becomes your advantage. And your standards become the foundation upon which every future success is built. The quality of your life will always rise to meet the quality of the standards you refuse to lower. And that is where lasting greatness is born, what if fear has never been the real enemy? What if the greatest obstacle in your life isn't failure, rejection, or uncertainty, but the story you've been telling yourself every single day? The moment you replace fear with absolute certainty, everything changes. Your decisions become bolder. Your actions become stronger. Your energy becomes contagious because certainty is the force that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. It isn't the absence of fear that creates greatness. It's the presence of an unshakable belief that your purpose is bigger than your doubts. Every successful snorts person reaches a point where they must make a choice. They can either listen to the voice of fear that whispers, "What if it doesn't work?" Or they can choose a stronger voice that says, "What if this is the moment that changes my life forever?" That single decision separates dreamers from achievers. Fear always focuses on what could go wrong, while certainty focuses on what's possible. The direction of your focus determines the direction of your life. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows, and wherever your energy flows, results begin to grow. Think about the biggest decisions you've ever made. Chances are you didn't have every answer, you couldn't predict every outcome. There were risks, uncertainties, and moments when the future seemed unclear. Yet somehow, when you committed fully, you found solutions you never saw before. Why? Because commitment unlocks creativity, certainty awakens resourcefulness. The human mind is incredibly powerful when it's fully committed to a goal. It stops asking whether something is possible and starts asking how to make it possible. Too many people allow fear to become the author of their future. They hesitate before taking opportunities. They silence their own ideas because they're worried about criticism. They postpone their dreams because they're waiting for guarantees that life will never provide. But here's a powerful truth. Certainty doesn't come from knowing the future. It comes from trusting yourself to handle whatever the future brings. That's what separates leaders from followers. Leaders don't have fewer problems. They simply have greater confidence in their ability to overcome them. Imagine standing at the edge of a mountain looking toward the life you've always wanted. Fear tells you to stay exactly where you are because it's familiar. Certainty reminds you that every meaningful achievement in history began with someone willing to take a step into the unknown. Every innovation, every breakthrough, every inspiring success story started with a person who believed in a vision before the world believed in them. They didn't wait for confidence to appear. They created it through commitment. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They became stronger than imperfect conditions. One of the greatest habits you can develop is learning to control your internal dialogue. Your mind is listening to every word you repeat. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not ready," your brain will search for evidence to support that belief. But when you repeatedly declare, "I will find a way, I'm capable, I grow stronger with every challenge," your subconscious begins aligning your actions with that new reality. This isn't blind optimism. It's intentional conditioning. Elite performers understand that the quality of their self-talk directly influences the quality of their performance. Certainty also requires letting go of a need for approval. Many people spend years chasing permission from family, friends, coworkers, or society before pursuing what truly matters to them. But the people who make the greatest impact understand that approval is optional while commitment is essential. They refuse to let someone else's limited expectations become the boundaries of their own potential. They trust their vision even when others don't understand it because they know that greatness often looks unreasonable until it becomes undeniable. Every obstacle you face is an invitation to strengthen your certainty. Every rejection is an opportunity to deepen your resolve. Every setback is a reminder that success belongs to those who refuse to surrender their belief. Stop asking whether you're good enough, talented enough, or experienced enough. Start asking whether you're committed enough to keep moving when the path becomes difficult. Because when your purpose becomes greater than your fear, when your belief becomes louder than your doubt, and when your certainty becomes stronger than your excuses, you begin operating at a level where challenges no longer intimidate you. They fuel you, strengthen you, and push you toward the extraordinary life you've always known was possible. What if the hardest season of your life isn't happening to break you, but to build the strongest version of you? Think about that for a moment. Every challenge you face is either becoming your greatest excuse or your greatest advantage. The choice is yours. The people the world admires aren't those who live without obstacles. They're the ones who turned every obstacle into an opportunity. They understood a powerful truth that most people overlook. Pressure doesn't destroy greatness. It reveals it. Just as diamonds are formed under immense pressure, your greatest strength is forged in the moments you feel tested the most. Life has a way of presenting challenges when you least expect them. You lose opportunities, you face rejection, plans fall apart, people disappoint you. There are moments when nothing seems to go your way. In those moments, it's easy to ask, why is this happening to me? But the question that changes everything is, what is this challenge trying to teach me? That simple shift transforms pain into purpose. Instead of becoming a victim of your circumstances, you become a student of your experiences. Every setback carries a lesson. And every lesson has the potential to move you closer to the person you're meant to become. The stormiest people you know weren't born with extraordinary resilience. They developed it by refusing to quit when life became difficult. Every challenge they overcame expanded their confidence. Every failure strengthened their wisdom. Every obstacle forced them to grow in ways that comfort never could. Growth is never lived inside your comfort zone. It lives on the other side of uncertainty, discomfort, and persistence. If life feels difficult right now, don't immediately assume you're on the wrong path. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs are hidden behind the greatest battles. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The steel is repeatedly exposed to intense heat, hammered with tremendous force, and cooled before the process begins again. From the outside, it looks like destruction, but in reality, every strike is increasing its strength. Your life works the same way. The pressure you're feeling today may be shaping the strength you rely on tomorrow. Every disappointment is developing patience. Every rejection is building resilience. Every difficult season is preparing you for responsibilities you couldn't snorts handle before. Here's something extraordinary about the human mind. It grows stronger every time it solves a difficult problem. When everything is easy, your abilities remain unchanged. But when you're challenged, your creativity expands, your character deepens, and your confidence becomes rooted in experience rather than hope. That's why successful people don't run from problems. They run toward growth. They understand that challenges are not roadblocks. They are training snorts grounds. Every obstacle overcome becomes proof that they're capable of handling even greater opportunities in the future. Ask yourself this question: what if the obstacle you're trying to avoid is actually the opportunity you've been praying for? What if this difficult season is teaching you discipline, patience, leadership, or emotional strength that success alone could never provide? Some of the greatest inventions, businesses, and life-changing ideas were born during moments of struggle. Adversity has a unique way of revealing strengths you never knew you possessed. When you're forced to adapt, you discover abilities that comfort would have kept hidden forever. It's also important to understand that challenges don't define your future. Your response to them does. Two people can experience the exact same setback. One chooses bitterness, blame, snorts, and excuses. The other chooses growth, responsibility, and action. Years later, their lives look completely different, not because their circumstances were different, but because their mindset was different. Your response is your power. You may not control every situation that enters your life, but you always control the meaning you assign to it and the actions you choose because of it. The greatest champions in every field have one thing in common: they refuse to let temporary pain steal a permanent dream. They understand that every difficult workout strengthens their body, every criticism sharpens their focus, every failure improves their strategy, and every obstacle builds the emotional endurance needed for lasting success. They don't measure life by how easy it is. They measure it by how much they're growing through every experience. That's why they continue moving forward while others stop. They know that one day they'll look back and realize the moments they once wanted to escape were actually the moments that transformed them into the person capable of achieving extraordinary success. What if the future version of yourself, the one who has already achieved every goal you're chasing, is watching every decision you make today? Would they recognize your habits? Would they be proud of your discipline? Or would they wonder why you're settling for less than you're capable of? Here's the truth. Your future isn't created someday. It's being created right now, one decision at a time. Every action you take is either moving you closer to the life you dream about or pulling you further away from it. The question is no longer, what do I want in the future? The question is, snorts I living today in a way that deserves that future? The greatest mistake people make is believing that success suddenly appears after one lucky break or one perfect opportunity. It doesn't. Success is built long before anyone sees it. Every champion was once an unknown beginner. Every successful entrepreneur once had an empty calendar and an uncertain future. Every influential leader once faced moments of self-doubt. What separated them wasn't talent alone. It was their ability to make decisions as if they had already become the person they wanted to be. They didn't wait for success to change their habits. They changed their habits first, and success eventually followed. Imagine waking up tomorrow already knowing that your biggest dream is guaranteed to happen. How would you approach the day? Would you waste hours scrolling through distractions? Would you avoid difficult conversations? Would you postpone your goals until next week? Of course not. You would protect every hour because you would understand its value. You would invest in your health because your body is the vehicle carrying your dreams. You would speak with confidence because doubt would no longer control your decisions. That's exactly how you must begin living today. The life you want belongs to the person you're willing to become before the rewards arrive. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself throughout the day is this: what would my future successful self choose in this moment? That question has the power to interrupt old habits and replace them with intentional actions. When you're tempted to procrastinate, ask yourself that question. When you're about to make an excuse, ask it again. When fear tells you to stay comfortable instead of taking a risk, let your future self answer. Over time, those small choices reshape your identity. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intentionally. You begin making decisions based on your vision instead of your temporary feelings. The truth is your future self has already mastered the lessons you're struggling with today. They already understand the value of consistency. They already know that discipline is more reliable than motivation. They already appreciate the importance of keeping promises to themselves. Every successful version of you exists because they refused to compromise when life became difficult. They didn't skip the process. They embraced it. They understood that every early morning, every difficult workout, every hour of focused learning, and every uncomfortable challenge was another investment in the life they wanted to create. Too many people spend their lives asking, what if I fail? But your future self would ask a much better question. What if I regret never giving everything I had? Regret weighs far more than temporary discomfort. The pain of discipline lasts for a moment, but the pain of wondering what could have been can last a lifetime. Every opportunity you avoid because of fear becomes another chapter in the story of unrealized potential. Don't let hesitation write your future. Let courage become the author of your life. Remember, greatness isn't revealed in extraordinary moments alone. It's revealed in the ordinary moments when no one is watching. It's revealed when you choose to keep working after everyone else has stopped. It's revealed when you remain committed despite slow progress. It's revealed when you continue believing in your vision even before the world believes in you. These invisible victories eventually become visible success. People will one day call you lucky, but they'll never see the countless decisions you made in silence, the sacrifices you embraced, and the discipline you practiced every single day. Your future shaped by the standard you live by today. Every choice, every habit, every conversation, and every action is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Stop waiting for life to prove that you're capable. Prove it to yourself through relentless consistency. Walk with confidence before the applause arrives. Prepare before the opportunity appears. Lead before you're given the title. Believe before you receive the evidence. Because the moment your daily actions begin matching the vision of your future self, success stops being a distant destination and starts becoming the natural direction of your life. So, from this moment forward, walk differently, speak differently, think differently, protect your time, guard your focus, raise your standards, stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I become everything I'm capable of becoming? That question has the power to reshape your life. Remember, winners aren't created on the day they succeed. They're created on the thousands of days they refuse to quit. As you leave today, make one decision that will define the rest of your life. Decide that you're no longer waiting for confidence. Decide that you're no longer waiting for permission. Decide that you're no longer waiting for perfect conditions. Act as if you've already won. Walk with purpose. Speak with certainty. Work with passion. Serve with excellence. And snorts, never forget this. The person you become is always more valuable than the goal you achieve. Because once you build the mindset of a winner, success is no longer an accident. It's inevitable. Thank you. Believe in your potential. Trust your journey. And remember, your future is not waiting for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to act like the champion you were born to become. The moment you decide you've already won inside your mind, the outside world has no choice but to catch up. Go out there, take action, and create the life you deserve. Your time